Here we are at the Sydney headquarters of News Limited. We're here to talk to David Penberthy, the editor of The Punch. It's a new website, it's only a few weeks old, so let's find out what's happening and what's it all about. David, thanks for joining us on the chat.
No worries, Jeremy.
The Punch, is it a blog? Is it a news site? Is it a social sort of media site? What is it?
It's probably sort of all of those things and more, hopefully. Essentially, it is a site that features good writing. It's a site for people who love to read. The content comes from people who love to write. So, you know, the short answer is it is kind of a blog site, but the thing that we've found in the, you know, sort of broad sweep of, you know, 7 weeks and 2 days since we turned the thing on, is that it has sort of taken on a bit of a life of its own. And early on, when we started, there were a couple of big news breaks that we had on the site. When Parliament was sitting, we were finding that a lot of our traffic was coming from people who have a natural interest in politics, and there were some pretty big stories kicking around. We had Peter Costello quit politics. We had the pretty spectacular kerfuffle over what's now known as Utegate. And the Punch sort of inserted itself in the middle of both of those stories. We had a lead item about Peter Costello saying that people in the party were sick of him, thought he was a distraction, thought that if he wasn't going to run for the leadership, he should probably just quit. And that was our lead on the day that he did quit, which was a nice bit of luck on our part. And you know, during Utegate, there were a couple of moments where, you know, MPs were actually leaving the chamber to see what the Punch had posted, with its sort of real-time comment and analysis, and also with, you know, little news breaks on the story, linking the forged email to Malcolm Turnbull's office. The entire Liberal leadership suddenly ran out of the chamber to go and refresh their Blackberries, check their laptops to see what we were saying about it. It's been a newsy sort of a site on occasions, but it's kind of like a mega blog in a way, you know, and I don't say that in any sort of sense of, you know, mega involving megalomania. It's diverse. You know, we've had people who are actively left-wing, actively right-wing, actively ambivalent, and a pox on both your houses, writing about really diverse topics. You know, on average we've got between 7 and 10 new pieces there on the website every morning, and as the day unfolds, we commission new stuff, we write new stuff ourselves. The breadth of it, combined with the quite extraordinary levels of reader involvement, you know, getting hundreds and hundreds of comments on a lot of the pieces that we post, has sort of made it like a bit of a community of bloggers in a way, community of writers.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go onto it, and the lead story, as you said, could be politics, or it could be a trivial piece on Gen Y, which I think today is, or it could be on sport or entertainment. But you don't have any like news section, you don't have a sports section. It's just what's the latest is up there on top.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of designed for people with a, you know, bit of a skittish attention span, which seems to be one of the terrific things about the internet. And I don't know, like, as a reader myself, I'm kind of happy to go to a website where it's not predictable and where you'll find that kind of variety. And I really like the idea of reading something about MasterChef, something about how maybe Ricky Ponting whinged himself into a corner after the first test and the impact that it had on his psychology going into the second test at Lord's, and then seeing a piece from a Greenpeace activist like Dan Cass about how solar power is actually working properly in Japan, and then seeing a piece from someone who works for the Minerals Council saying, why are we still talking about an emissions trading scheme at all, given that the science is starting to unravel about the veracity of climate change, and then some, you know, sex-mad piece by some, you know, Gen Y uni student who's saying that she wasted 5 years of her life on campus and, you know, regrets having ever enrolled, given the size of her HECS debt. So, because it's not sort of an elitist site, it's not an impenetrable site, but it's not a sort of, you know, down at heels sort of plebby site either. Hopefully people who have got an appetite for a good conversation where people move around from topic to topic as they do in life will come to the site and find that you know, of the 7 to 10 pieces, that, you know, 2, 3, 4 of them will pique their interest and hold their attention.
In part 2 of my chat with David Penberthy, we talk about the traditional media and dragging it onto the net.